Events like last night are the reason I became a pro wrestling fan 3 decades ago. And events like last night are the reason I stayed a pro wrestling fan for 3 decades now. And events like last night are the reason you became a professional wrestling fan. From Sasha Banks in tears as she and Bayley captured history, to the Usos recapturing their top spot in the tag division of that company, to Kofi Kingston recapturing his identity, and nearly doing the unthinkable and the impossible twice in 1 week as he and Daniel Bryan created sheer magic in that chamber, in that ring, in front of all of us to bear witness to. It is those collective moments together under one event that we will remember forever. It is clear to see that the Amplified Man enjoyed the Elimination Chamber for the most part, but this review isn't your average review, is it? This, for new subscribers, especially in case you didn't know how we do business around here for pay-per-view reviews, this is what we call the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what we do, simple. 3 rules. Aside from the pre-show, every match counts. Number 2, every ugly equates to 2 bads. So you want to stay away from uglies because they will equal 2 bads, and when it's all said and done and we're doing the final tally and we're trying to decide if this pay-per-view was good or bad, those uglies will rear their ugly head. They'll turn into 2 bads, and they will surpass the goods. It's happened before, so stay away from any ugly tallies. Number 3, if there is a tiebreaker, we then go to the pre-show, which in this case is Tozawa and Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. But only if this video ends in a tiebreaker do we go to the pre-show. Otherwise, it's only the main roster main show matches. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, if you think that this review will not end in a tiebreaker, it's impossible. It's happened several times in the past where we had to go to the pre-show as the deciding factor on if a pay-per-view was good or bad. So things are going to get interesting. I'm going to down one more Starbucks latte before we get started. We're going to go over the full 6 matches that were on the main show. We're going to dissect every match, put a tally in either the good, the bad, or the ugly column, and then we're gonna tally them all up and see what this pay-per-view really was. You ain't gotta go anywhere where I down this coffee. Through the magic of television, the magic of YouTube, all I gotta do is snap my fingers and we're gonna get ready to start calling the action. For you new subscribers, and I know there's a lot of you from last week, I broke some news on a couple of stories. Dramatic, unfortunately, real personal to some of our favorite superstars, but I try to stay as fair as possible, and you guys really like those videos, so you smash the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Buckle up. Again, this isn't your normal review video, and it starts right now. So Starbucks has been consumed and we're ready to rock, guys. But before we kick off this review, the good, the bad, and the ugly of WWE Elimination Chamber 2019, I got a question I want to pose to you guys. And this isn't just a rhetorical question. A lot of times on this channel, I'll ask rhetorical questions. And questions I know the answer to, or I'm going to give you the answer. But this is a real honest question. Anybody can answer this. My subscribers can answer down below in the comments. My non-subscribers, the creepy people out there that won't subscribe, but you click on my video every morning with your orange juice and your Cocoa Puffs, you guys can answer too, I guess. But more so for my amplified unit, my subscribers. In one WrestleMania night, keep in mind, the question starts off as not just any night, on a WrestleMania night, is having Kofi Kingston win the WWE Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins winning the Universal Championship, and Becky Lynch winning the Raw Women's Championship. All 3 of those underdog stories in their own way Is that too much? I'm an overbooker. So if that's where they decide to go for WrestleMania, if Kofi Kingston was to find his way in a Mania match with Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins is already in a heavyweight championship match with Brock Lesnar, and Becky Lynch will be involved in Charlotte and Ronda. Clearly, this is going to be a triple threat. If all three of those pull off the deed, is one taking away from the other moment? That's three huge underdog moments. I'm an overbooker. I say I'm okay with it. It just has to strategically be done correctly, obviously. The best way possible. I don't know if we can give WWE the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know. As much as I'm leaning that way, because I am an overbooker, I'm kind of in the middle too still, man. That's a lot. What do you guys think? If the card was to shape up that way, Kofi, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, all in one night, capturing the championships, is one of their moments overshadowing the others? Can they all mesh together? Is it too much for us, the fans? Too much for the wrestling world all in one night? That's the question. You guys can answer if you want, either to yourselves or down below. Let's get because I was just thinking that, guys, honestly. I weird shit before I go to bed at 3 a.m. That was what was on my mind. Shit, we could potentially be looking at those matches, and wouldn't that be the only outcomes? Would they really have Brock beat Seth? If they did do Kofi and Daniel Bryan, would they really have Daniel Bryan beat Kofi on that stage after what we just saw last night? Would they really dare have Becky Lynch exit WrestleMania without the strap? Possible, man. I wouldn't put it past Vince and WWE. Let's get to the actual show, guys. We're going to kick this Good, the Bad, and the Ugly review off with the Elimination Chamber Women's Tag Title match. The first two teams in, obviously, as we knew beforehand, because they lost their respective matches in weeks previous, was Bayley and Sasha, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. That's interesting to note, because when it was all said and done, the final two teams were Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. So, you gotta hand it to Deville and Mandy Rose, whether you like them or not. They held their own in there, man. If you're gonna say that they botched more than anyone else, well, I feel that's BS, because I saw everybody in there getting cluttery and stuttering over their moves from time to time. Everybody, even my Sasha. There was times where it was a train wreck, guys. It was just too much clutter. And you're putting two green gals in there like Sonya and Mandy, and you're expecting them to be on par with everyone else and at times even better? No, man. I wasn't expecting that. So what I got from Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville far exceeded my expectations with them, and they showed me something. They can hang. I'm not saying put them in top Mania matches or even top Backlash matches right now. But that's vast improvements of what I was saying about Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose 6 months ago. Vast improvements. They lasted that entire chamber to the final two teams. And nobody this morning is talking about how tragic it was watching them. Nobody is talking about their botch fest. Nothing like that, because we didn't see it. It didn't happen. Not any more than anyone else. I just want to throw that out there. They get a lot of shade, I understand. Even people like me at times, who are befuddled when they book Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose in certain matches that they shouldn't be in. This was one of them. If you guys remember, when they first announced it, it was at a time where everybody was earning their way into the Elimination Chamber. They just came on SmackDown and announced it. And I called BS. More on the announcement factor than the actual two participants. But I didn't know about this fit. But here we are the next morning playing Monday morning quarterback. They held their own. I did want to take 2 minutes to at least say that, man. A little bit of homage over to Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. They're getting lost in all of this, in their performance, because they were the team that got beat in the end. But they made it to the end. Isn't that something? And they ain't the talk of the town for horrible shit that they did, or botches. That's something. And on this channel, I give credit where it's due. We're not always so negative, man. You know, everybody always says, BC, why do you watch if you're so negative, man? Well, I watch for moments and events like last night. Because that's the shit they can do if they put in the work and the effort. They give themselves the time of day. They give their superstars, suits and ties, everybody the time of day. Then the whole company can run smoothly. And we can get good events, good matches, good outcomes. That's why I complain. I complain for all of us so that the company does get better. Without people like me, it never will. When it was all said and done, as I said, you had some spots, obviously. Nothing that worthy to talk about. People were flying all over the place. Nia Jax went through one of the pods. Literally, guys, I can't even make this up. The way Nia Jax ran through that pod is like I want to run through a cement wall when watching most Monday Night Raws. Head first through a cement wall. That's how Nia Jax ran through that pod. So that was the moment of the match as far as spots. But everybody, I felt, even through the train wreck scenarios, the cluttery movesets and setups, the spot fest that was in the middle of the match, which I actually didn't mind. Throughout all of the BS, when it was all said and done, Sasha Banks and Bayley, like we thought from the beginning, ended up becoming the first ever. I almost said SmackDown or Raw, but no, it's a collective. It's a United Championship. So the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, man. All of 2018, Sasha Banks was stuck in a tag team with Bayley, and you guys heard me bitch about it because I honestly feel Sasha Banks should be on her own going for singles championships. And I honestly, the last couple months especially, started seeing the best out of Bayley. And I started saying Bayley should be on her own. But this is a big moment when you do take a step back. And even though I have my biased opinion on Sasha being by herself, it was a cool moment. If you didn't feel some type of emotion last night after they won those straps, you got to check the old pulse. And Sasha Banks is in tears, and they're looking at those titles, and this is not any storyline or playing up to their character. This is Sasha and Bayley literally looking at those titles and staring at years of hard work, sweat, tears, blood, broken shit. They were staring at all of their hard work, guys. And when you can see that type of emotion on your TV screen, that leaks right out into your living room. Or wherever the hell you're watching that pay-per-view. That leaks out to you. You feel that. There's no way that type of emotion, that type of moment, that type of history-making moment cannot go into the good, guys. Sasha and Bayley winning the Women's Elimination Chamber match, becoming the first ever WWE Tag Champs for the women again. That's going into the good column. So already, match number 1, we're going into the good. I am not going to put anything into the bad or ugly for sloppiness in that match. Anybody talking about sloppiness in that match, you go and put on an Elimination Chamber match for almost an hour and tell me how you do. One match, one good. And congratulations to Sasha Banks and Bayley, man. What a moment. Again, I would love to see Sasha Banks on her own because we wasted I say wasted, it's not so wasted now. But we've seen Sasha with Bayley all of 2018. Now they're tag champs. It looks like for the foreseeable future, Sasha will still be with Bayley. I'm going to ride this out. I hate the name Boston Hug Connection. I can't stand it. But as a Sasha Banks fan, I'm going to ride this out. And when it's all said and done, I hope it leads to a badass feud with Bayley and Sasha at first. Sasha should be the heel in all this when it's all said and done. And hopefully they can go their separate ways. After this tag title run, they go their separate ways and they find success on the main roster individually. And hopefully Sasha can hold an individual title for more than a month at a time. Because that's the shit that still makes me cringe. That's the shit that I'm still holding on to that animosity. I'm still holding on to that bad taste in my mouth that they didn't give Sasha Banks long title runs. 4 different times. And I don't know if they equal 3 months collectively. And now they're in a tag team. But again, I will ride this out. We shall see. Congratulations, though. When it was all said and done, that moment, man, we'll remember that forever. And how can we not? It's in the history books now. Match number 2. I'm a little biased here because I like all 4 individuals. The Usos, you guys know I feel they are the best tag team right now in the world. Not the Young Bucks, not the Revival, the Usos. You guys know how I feel about Shane McMahon. This guy will put his body on the line 10 times per match when he doesn't even need to. He could just sit there, be the boss's son, collect millions of dollars doing whatever he wants in that company. And he doesn't. He goes out there and he doesn't just perform. He goes out there and puts his life on the line, not just his career. For what? For our entertainment. Loves Shane McMahon. And of course The Miz. How can you hate The Miz? He's the fucking Miz. So all 4 of them in one match, take my money. I'm down with it. That's a sleeper match for most people, but it was one of the matches I was looking forward to the most because I can't lose here. If Shane and The Miz walk out as champs, I win. And if the Usos walk out as champs, I win. I liked the match. It was good. I expected even better, but that's just because I know how good all 4 individuals are. I didn't get better, but I got damn good. And for that reason, it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Before I talk any more about this match, that goes into the good column. Again, expected better, but we got damn good. Shane McMahon risks it all from the top rope all the way to the outside table, driving his elbow through the Uso. Who was it, Jay? Or was it Jimmy? I totally fucking forgot now. Not because of the twin scenario either. I just forgot who he drove his elbow through the heart of. But back in the ring, The Miz, all he had to do was take care of the other Uso, and he couldn't even do it. He got rolled up, and the Usos end up becoming tag team champions, reclaiming their throne, reclaiming the top spot in the WWE, and in my opinion, in the professional wrestling world. That is why that goes into the good, because the match was damn good, and the Usos are once again tag team champions. On a night, moments after Sasha and Bayley make history and become the first ever women's tag team champions, the Usos become new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And just like the Revival wants to get the old school tag straps for them, I hope the New Day is able to get rid of those stupid crushed dime belts and get the old school awesome decaled straps back. Because I miss those tag titles when the Demolition would carry them, the Hart Foundation, the Legion of Doom. It's really good to see the Usos, man, back on top. It really is. And we're 2 matches into this, and we already got 2 goods. That's a damn good way to kick off a pay-per-view event. Can they keep the momentum going? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Because now we're going to go into a match that even this morning befuddles me, and it befuddles me because it's stupid as hell. Finn Balor going for the Intercontinental Championship against Bobby Lashley, but it's a handicap match. That's right, Bobby Lashley has Lio Rush by his side, and Lio Rush is in the match. Then how the fuck is this a title match? It's bad enough I hate triple threats and fatal fours when there's a title on the line because I feel it should be one-on-one. So you really know I can't stand the fact that there's a handicap match for a title match. I ask any of you out there, any of you, how does that make sense for a title match? How does this help Bobby Lashley? I could see if it's somebody like Drew McIntyre by your side, maybe. It's Lio Rush. How much more of an advantage is this? This is what I don't like. This is lackluster, easy, simplistic to a fault booking. They knew they didn't want Lashley to lose this match. They knew they wanted to put the title on Finn Balor because it's a consolation prize. He couldn't get the job done against Brock, so let's give him the next belt, a tier lower, the IC strap. So we want Finn to have the title. We don't want Lashley to lose. Hey, let's put Lio in the title match, even though he's not the champion. That's stupid! That's not even bad. That is ugly. And it should go in such column. That is ugly. Finn Balor fans got to see him win the championship. That's cool for you. Awesome. I want to give Sam Roberts praise. Sam Roberts has taken heat because he went out there on the pre-show, the panel, the kickoff show, and he said that Finn Balor needs to be the demon. And we need to start seeing the demon more. And they try to shut him up real quick. Booker T is like, well, this isn't the demon. This is Finn. And they try to shut him up. But he's speaking for all of us in that moment, in that instance. The entertainment value is in the demon. Nobody wants to see pop collar smiley Finn come down there in his ultra skinny tight tights. Where he hasn't eaten a donut in 17 years. What is this guy? What the fuck is this guy? He used to be so cool as the demon. Now he looks like he just stumbled out drunk from a Chippendales. Fucking A, man. He comes out smiling to a title match. I swear, him, Ronda Rousey, and Bayley coming to the ring together would make me cringe to the point where I'd want to put my head through a cement wall. We'll just call them the Smiley Club. They all come down. We're just happy to be here. Come smiling down to the ring when he's got a title match against two people, supposedly. But he's smiling. He's happy. Why not? He knows he's about to win the title against a 4'2" hobbit fucking dude, 112 pounds, and Lio Rush. Measurements were exaggerated, obviously. But what the fuck was all this? Did I even put an ugly already? Because I want to put another one. I already did, though. Don't forget the rules, guys. That ugly counts as 2 bads. So in one match, we equaled off the first 2. It's basically 2 and 2 now. I cannot tell you how frustrating that is. When you take something so seriously, right? It's the old adage, it's still real to us, damn it. And you make a mockery of it. It is a title match. And you're throwing in Lio Rush in a hand. It's not even a triple threat. That's bad enough. I hate triple threats in Fatal 4-Ways. That's why the Charlotte Flair with the Becky Lynch and Ronda thing doesn't sit too well with me. But when you make it a handicap, now it's 2-on-1 for a title match, you're basically saying Leo's a champion too. If he can lose it. I'm not even going to spend another fucking ounce of energy on this. I already put it in the ugly column, and that's because I don't have a really, 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 really ugly column. Lost in all of this is that Finn Balor actually became champion. So, great for Balor fans. To me, I know what this was all along. This was a consolation prize. And on top of that, I've already seen Finn Balor take on Bobby Lashley 100 times in the last 6 months over on Raw. Whether tag team matches, 6-man tags, 1-on-1, I've seen it so many times. Adding Lio Rush in this when we knew what it was for, just to be the fall guy, just to take the pin, eat the pin. Come on, man. Simple coup de grace and it was over. And Bobby Lashley, after the match, takes Lio Rush's head and slams him into the mat and starts screaming up the rampway. That was the most emotion I've seen out of Bobby Lashley in his entire career. So that was a good sight to see. More of that, Bobby Lashley. If you want us to give a shit about you. But it wasn't good enough to go into the good column. That stays in the ugly. So after 3 matches, guys, we have 2 good and 1 ugly. Unfortunately, an ugly counts as 2 bads. So it's basically all tied up. Now you know what I was saying before. It could easily go to a tiebreaker, and then we're going to the pre-show when it's all said and done. But we'll see. There's still 3 matches to go on the main show. We're going to go next into the Raw Women's Championship match. Ronda Rousey taking on Ruby Riott. The match, this is going to shock you guys. A lot of people are so pissed. Ruby Riott deserves better. Listen, I agree. I like Ruby Riott. Perhaps she does deserve better. The problem is WWE booked her in a match with Ronda Rousey 7 weeks before WrestleMania, and it's supposedly supposed to be our main event, our last match. If you're telling me that Ronda Rousey's gonna dick around with Ruby for 12 minutes. I'm calling bullshit on the Mania main event then. I need to see that Ronda Rousey that is vicious, ferocious, badass, and can beat you at any given moment. And quickly. Because that's what Rode? I can speak. That's what rose Ronda Rousey to dominance over in UFC, and it's what should be carrying her in WWE. That should be the main event. If you're going to have that the last match, Becky versus Ronda, it should be badass Becky versus badass Ronda. Not smiley hoorah speech Ronda and limping weak Becky. That's not a main event. The Rousey we saw last night, beating Ruby Riott in less than 5 minutes. Sorry, not sorry, guys. That goes into the good. Have no choice. Again, I like Ruby Riott. I would love to see more. But it's all about WrestleMania right now. You're 7 weeks away from Mania. If I watch Ronda Rousey in a 12 to 16 minute match with Ruby, my interest for a WrestleMania main event match drops exponentially. It's just the truth. You're telling me last night's Ruby Riott match was the deciding factor in where she goes in her career? I call bullshit. She had a great match with Charlotte Flair, and it did nothing for her. She was right back with the Riott Squad with stupid booking. So don't tell me a good match with Ronda was going to do anything. BC, even if it was like 7 more minutes, man. Not going to do shit. I've already seen the experiment with Charlotte Flair and Ruby. If you want to make Ruby Riott something, you do it on television time, the Monday Night Raws. You got every week to do something with the Riott Squad, and especially with Ruby. You choose not to. That is where you're going to make or break Ruby Riott. Not on the pay-per-view. This was bigger than Ruby Riott. This is Ronda looking like a beast, which is a lost art these days. She's no longer looking like that. Last night she was. Less than 5 minutes earns her a spot in the good column, so I like that. But this wasn't the end, right? There was the extracurricular activities afterwards because Charlotte Flair was at ringside. Charlotte Flair gets in the ring after Ronda Rousey starts talking some trash. They're face to face. And then the camera pans to the crowd and here comes Becky Lynch. Limping. On crutches. And I was joking a couple of videos ago when I told you guys that Becky Lynch, instead of being badass, she's too busy on Amazon.com ordering crutches and wheelchairs for herself. That was supposed to be a joke. But no, here she comes limping on crutches. At this point, I'm literally about to jump out of the 5th story building that I was watching from. I was about to just jump. Head first! Why not? Can't get any more tragic for Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey than this, I thought. They make Ronda Rousey win the match the way she should have, less than 5 minutes, and now they're going to have Becky come in and ruin it all by being a little weakling, limping around Ronda and Charlotte, and then they're both going to beat the shit out of Becky. That's what I'm thinking. And somewhere, some dipshit will go, I'm okay with this booking, BC, for Becky. But right before I went to jump out of that building, I turned back once more to the TV, and Becky Lynch just starts beating Charlotte Flair with a crutch. And I'm thinking, all right, this is what I said in the preview video, the podcast. If you guys didn't check out the podcast, check it out. I put it up hours before Elimination Chamber, so maybe you haven't seen it yet. But within that podcast, I had the full Elimination Chamber preview. And in that preview, I told you guys how I would book Becky Lynch. I would absolutely have her arrive last night. You cannot keep one of your hottest superstars, supposedly. You can't keep her off the Elimination Chamber. She has to show up. Charlotte's by ringside, Ronda's having a championship match, and Becky Lynch is nowhere to be found. No, she has to show up. Not only does she have to show up, she has to beat the shit out of Ronda Rousey. Has to. Charlotte was a bonus. I said in that preview booking, Becky Lynch has to beat the fuck out of Ronda Rousey in order for Becky to get to salvage any momentum. in order for anybody to believe that she is still a badass, capable of beating Ronda, and at this point, Charlotte. And not just limping around for the next 7 weeks. And then at WrestleMania, she's gonna somehow will her way in an underdog moment to the championship. No, that's not how you book her. So I started to see her wallop Charlotte Flair. And I was like, alright, decent. It should have been Ronda, but I'll take it. It's still not good enough for me because you're beating up Charlotte, you're not beating up Ronda. But I'll take this side of Becky. Not just hobbling around looking weak. She's beating the fuck out of somebody. That's how she should be utilized. No grazing punches to Stephanie. Not a grazing slap to Triple H. But beating the fuck out of human beings. That's why we started to love Becky back at the end, the middle to end of 2018. And then she gives a crutch over to Ronda Rousey. And it looks like Rousey is going to help Becky Lynch beat up Charlotte. And at this point, I got my head out the door at this point. I'm about to jump because I'm like, now we're getting Ronda and Becky, which was at one point a fierce rivalry, and now they're just a tag team. Beating up on the mean Charlotte Flair. And Ronda goes to hit Charlotte Flair, and I see Becky Lynch go behind her, and I'm like, wait, it's gonna happen! Boom! Ronda Rousey gets decked by the crutch, back of the dome piece by Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch starts brutally beating Ronda Rousey. Cuts her dome piece. Brutal shot to the head. If you look close, man, Ronda Rousey was busted up on the side of her dome piece. She had cuts on her arm, bruises on her other arm. Becky Lynch was laying into Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, both at the same time. Suits, ties, referees, all trying to stop her. Security. But she went nuts on Ronda and Charlotte. That is the badass Becky I was waiting for. Was that so hard? You want her limping around for 7 weeks? Then you better still find a way to make her badass. I hate this leg injury storyline. What you saw last night, the way you saw it, that is how you utilize Becky Lynch. If you want her in a main event last match at WrestleMania with somebody like Ronda Rousey. You don't have her limp around for 7 weeks. That was an awesome, brutal assault angle. Loved it. Even though it wasn't a match, that goes in the good column. Everybody that's saying, oh, you're just hating on Becky Lynch lately. You're just being real negative to Becky, BC. Am I? Or do I just know exactly how this should go? To be the most entertaining. That's Becky Lynch. That's what we loved about her in 2018, was it not? You guys are okay seeing her just limp around fighting the Authority with some words for the next 7 weeks? Or do you want to see shit like that? A fierce rivalry. Where when they get their hands on each other, they want to kill each other. That's awesome. That's entertaining. That's the Becky Lynch I've wanted to see for weeks. Give me that, Becky. We can do business for WrestleMania. I loved it. Boom. Some people I know are saying, oh, it shouldn't have been, how is she allowed back? You have to... The suspension storyline is something that has been around from the beginning of time, guys. People get suspended all the time. The fun in suspensions in WWE and in pro wrestling is the fact that they can come through the crowd at any time. I love that. That's the whole point of a suspension angle. They're gonna show up. They're not actually gonna live out their suspension, right? Or ride it out, I should say. They're gonna live it out, hopefully. That's the whole fun, I know some people are poking around at her pace, right? It's not like she ran through the crowd. She was just kind of crutching along. But in my mind, that helps the believability. Because even security, suits and ties, I see Vince McMahon on the headset in the back like, what is she doing? She's on crutches. So they're not stopping her at first because, how much harm is she really going to be? Not only is she a little gimp, she's on crutches. She can't put any weight on her foot. She's zero threat whatsoever. So I could believe that Vince is like, you know what? Let's see what she's going to say. And then all of a sudden, she just starts walloping motherfuckers. That's when security had to escort her, I can speak, getting all amplified here. That's when security had to escort her out of the arena. Believable to me, man. I'm cool with it. And again, we got to see Lynch destroy Ronda. That's what I said needed to happen from the very beginning. That's all I asked for. I wasn't being negative to Becky Lynch. I like Becky. I'm not a fan per se, but I like her. But what I love is for my main event at WrestleMania to be something I care about. That is one way to help make me care about it. That's all I've ever asked for. In one title match, we got two goods. The match itself made Ronda Rousey look like a badass that she should have been all along, and after the match, made Becky Lynch look like the badass that she should have been all along. I don't know what it makes Charlotte Flair look like, but who cares? Moving on. The fifth match of the night. I don't even want to talk about this, so I won't. Baron Corbin defeats Braun Strowman. That's all I have to say. It goes into, should we put this in the ugly or bad, guys? You know what? Fuck the bad. That goes into the ugly. I don't even care. An ugly counts for two bads, don't forget, guys, and we already got two uglies. So as much as we have four goods, we also now have two uglies. So they just equaled out. So going into the main event, we have a tie. But there's no way I could put that into the bag. This is a redundant Monday Night Raw match. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. Seen it a million times. And on top of that, it was the same ending that we used to see on Monday Night Raw too. Drew McIntyre ends up coming out. Bobby Lashley ends up coming out. And they form a trifecta to destroy Braun Strowman. We saw this exact same ending when Braun Strowman shattered his elbow. Maybe it was Dolph Ziggler in there, but I could have sworn it was Baron, Lashley, and McIntyre. I think it was the same participants. I've seen them in six-man tags, tag teams, one-on-ones. I'm done with Braun and Baron. And they tried to make it extra fun and exciting and entertaining by hoisting Braun Strowman up on the steps in the ring and throwing him onto two tables that were set up. Okay, a fun little spot, but it's not going to make up for the boring 15 minutes that you just made us endure. I already put it in the ugly. They should be thankful it's not getting a second ugly. And again, if there was a really, 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 really ugly column, it would probably go there with Finn Balor winning the championship by not even beating the champion. A handicap title match. That's a good idea. Fuck out of here. The main event. What can you say about this? It was an Elimination Chamber match. It was okay. Okay? Good at times, train wreck at other times. It is what it is. It's an Elimination Chamber match. Samoa Joe getting eliminated first and within 10 minutes, that befuddles me that Vince McMahon sees zero value in Samoa Joe. That's actually frustrating, not just befuddling. I would have thrown Jeff Hardy maybe in beforehand. What the heck does Jeff Hardy have to be one of the last participants for? He doesn't. But alright, they throw out Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton eventually. When this is all said and done, guys, AJ Styles was even eliminated. Obviously, he lasted much longer than Samoa Joe. When it was all said and done, this ended with Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. And I thought this was brilliant. From the beginning, I thought there's only one way this should end. Kofi Kingston looking like the legit true underdog, coming so close to beating Daniel Bryan 100 times, but in the very end, Daniel Bryan needs to win this match. Because that's only going to rise the stock of Kofi Kingston a million more times than if he won that title last night. I promise you, he would have got a huge pop, guys. And he would have had some momentum. But Kofi Kingston losing that match last night, that has just awoken a beast within the WWE universe. To the likes we have not seen in a long time. Maybe even when Becky Lynch was first starting to get that white hot momentum back in 2018. It's going to be to that level, I assure you. So that's what I mean, guys. Sometimes when you lose, it's much more of a victory than actually winning. That's why I was looking forward to Survivor Series. Becky Lynch versus Ronda, because I knew Ronda was going to win, but Becky's stock was going to be way higher in defeat. Unfortunately, they never got the opportunity. And it looks like WrestleMania, they're not going to get a one-on-one opportunity either, because Charlotte will be in there. So who knows if Becky and Ronda will ever get a one-on-one payoff. Who knows? But I will say this, guys. Kofi Kingston losing that match last night was the best thing possible for him and everyone involved. In the way it was done. They had a match within a match. You forgot it was an even Elimination Chamber match at one point. It was just Kofi and Daniel Bryan. The rest of the world was muted. You were so captivated by everything they were doing. Because even though you knew Daniel Bryan was winning, there was that little inkling in the back of your head like, maybe, at any moment, Kofi is going to pull this off. And even though you know it's not the right decision yet, I'll get to that in a minute, it's still going to be an epic pop moment. We're all going to jump out like, what? Kofi did it! And it's going to be such an awesome moment for Kofi. But it'll be much bigger in the future, I promise you. So what needed to happen last night was brilliantly done, and that doesn't always happen within WWE and under Vince McMahon's guidance and on his watch. We usually see the opposite. We see the tragic shit. Everything that should not have happened usually happens. They gave them an extra 20 minutes, it seemed, at least last night, after the original Chamber match, guys. Don't get me wrong, it was still within the Chamber match, but when everyone was eliminated and they were the final two, they gave them at least 20 minutes to just rock out everything that they can do. And don't get me wrong, that's still not everything they can do. But they were pulling out all the stops. They were captivating us move for move. There were times in there where I literally thought, Kofi's pulling this off tonight. And then there was times where I thought Daniel Bryan's got it right now, and Kofi would pull out, kick out, shock the world. The crowd was hanging on every move. And now you guys know what I mean by captivating. We see Becky Lynch's Becky chants, and that's cute, that's adorable. They pay their money, they show up, they chant. And people go, wow, see, she's the hottest star. But then you see when things captivate somebody. That's when you know somebody is bigger than the company at that moment. When you see fans on their feet and on near falls, they are cringing. They have their hands scraping their face, shocked. That is when you know you have your audience in the palm of your hands. For that moment, for that night, for that week, that month, maybe that year, maybe for years to come, you are larger than that company at that moment. Vince McMahon doesn't like that. You're more than just a chant at that point. So it's going to be interesting to see if Vince kills the momentum of Kofi Kingston the way he did Becky Lynch, the way he did Rusev, the way he did Zack Ryder, the way he's done Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins in the past. Will he kill the momentum of Kofi, or does he go with the momentum? I would love to see Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Not Mustafa Ali. Some people are like, yeah, but Mustafa deserves it. No, he doesn't. Mustafa Ali has been on the main roster for a couple of months. And that's before he got injured. He went on a losing streak. He's won a couple of matches. Deserving of what? He's no more deserving than Kurt Hawkins. Get out of here with your Mustafa Ali BS. And I'll go one further, guys. For those of you saying you feel bad for Mustafa because this should have been his spot, if you think Mustafa Ali would have gotten that reaction last night, you are kidding yourself. You are literally lying. We all knew what this meant for Kofi. 11 plus years in this business. Return. Never being a champion in the 11 plus years. Heavyweight champion. We all knew what was at stake. You're telling me you slip in a guy who's been on the main roster for a few months, and that's going to get that kind of cringing your face, scraping your face, shocked at every move? That's going to get that reaction? Bullshit. This was Kofi's. Destiny happens for a reason, man. Fate happens and takes place for a reason. This was the trajectory of Kofi Kingston's career. This is where all of this was supposed to come full circle. This is Kofi Kingston's time. If Vince wants to give him a push or not remains to be seen. But he deserves to have another big epic match with Daniel Bryan on a big stage. What better? I got the biggest stage coming up in April called WrestleMania. Why not put him there? And why not? Who else? Who else is going to defeat Daniel Bryan? Who else is deserving? Who else is going to captivate us like Kofi is captivating us right now? Anyway, that's the future. We'll see where they go. But for this match last night, especially that ending, that goes into the good column. We got a full 5 tally. Because that was dynamite. Kofi Kingston nearly did the unthinkable and the unbelievable. Twice now in 1 week. This guy's superstar status is going through the roof, breaking down, shattering ceilings. When Elimination Chamber went off the air last night, fellow New Day members Xavier Woods and Big E came down. And I loved it, man. This is like 2 dudes that would really be consoling their best friend. They helped him up. They gave him words of encouragement. They tried to leave the chamber. And Kofi was just like, I need to sit down for a minute. Kofi Kingston sits down. And I loved it. Xavier and Big E just sat with him. They didn't try to say anything to him at that point. I love this. Anybody who's got boys like that, or gals, if you got your lady friends, man, you're having a tough time and you just need a moment, the best thing is when you just have people next to you, not even talking to you, not trying to tell you how you should come about something, not trying to give you advice, but just sitting there with you. Sometimes that's all you need when you're having a tough moment. Kofi just needed a moment to sit down for a minute and reflect. Xavier sat down next to him, Big E, and they didn't say anything. They sat down and they were just shaking their head like, yep, we got you, man. You're going to sit here. You need a moment. We're going to sit right here with you. We're going to take this moment with you. You take as much time as you need, man. We're going to be right here with you. Anybody who's had experiences of that in real life, man, that was just the coolest thing to fucking see, man. It was so realistic. It wasn't like they were in his ear like, you got it, man. You got it, man. You did amazing. This is for you, you know. They did a little bit of that in the ring when they first picked them up. But when they were all, that iconic image is going to live with me forever. It's just an image of Kofi sitting on the stairs going up to the Elimination Chamber, and Xavier's on one side, Big E's on the other, and they're all just sitting there reflecting. That image will live with me forever. On a night where Sasha Banks collected one of her most history-making moments in her career ever. On a night where the Usos captured championships, whether you liked it or not, Finn Balor captured a championship. This was a huge, newsworthy pay-per-view event with moments that yours truly will remember for a lifetime. I hope you guys will as well. If you didn't like the pay-per-view, I hear you. To each their own. It's in the eye of the beholder. Better luck next time, right? And hopefully you guys will like the next pay-per-view, Fastlane. For me, what I thought originally ended up coming true. When it was all said and done, 5 goods defeats 2 uglies, which again, if you cross that out, each ugly equals 2 bads. 2 uglies, that's 4 bad. When it was all said and done, 5-4. Barely squeaked out as a good pay-per-view when we broke it down and dissected it. But as a fan just watching, I enjoyed it. So not only does it go down as a good pay-per-view, barely, but I fully enjoyed it. And sometimes it's good to just take a step back and enjoy what I loved for 3 decades. And that's what I got to do last night. When they do things the right way, this is what we can get. You know, could things be better? No question. Could they have been worse? Yeah, we've seen it. The past 10 years, if you're me. Watching this product through my eyes, the last 10 years have been pretty fucking tragic. But what I saw last night, man, from a fan's perspective, moments I'll take with me for a long time to come. Amplified, man. Hopefully you guys will catch Monday Night Raw tonight. Hopefully it's an enjoyable one. I don't know if they're going to be able to carry any momentum from last night into tonight, but we'll see. It's Monday Night Raw. Not going to hold my breath. Not putting any stock into this. But I will see you guys tomorrow for Monday Night Raw's review and reaction. For now, that was the Elimination Chamber. This was the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your boy B motherfucking C, the Amplified Man, saying check you.